B-ball. Bulbasaur.
B.
Yes. Yep. And next time, and yeah, I have to find I'll have to find a way to have them hear music while we can still talk normally, but the stream doesn't hear us, which is a bit complicated, but maybe just look at when I switch the screen. I prepared something and I'll hope you like it. I hope. Not no. $20. Nope, they can't. Nothing right now. The thing is, when you don't have separate audio outputs or whatever, you can't really have them hear something and not hear us. I'll need like a mixer for that, but so bum ba-dum. You'll see it in a few seconds, but
oh yeah,
so,
it's gonna be a delay, isn't it?
we're live.
We've got transition.
Oh my
Yo,
god.
that's it.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Look at that. That is sensational.
Now,
That's the first
We're
couple of
live.
seconds. They just fucking out and run.
So-
Go on.
Theoretically, we're ready to go now, are we?
we are.
Yes.
Give me
We
the green
are
light,
indeed.
because I'm ready to go. Oh,
I'm
oh,
ready. Go. Oh, oh, yo, yo.
yo,
We need
yo.
a damn sing along first to start off.
Lights. Oh, bubba yum bum, ba-dum bum, ba-dum, bubba yum bum. Okay. So,
Anyway.
Right. Hello and welcome to the February 16th edition of WrestleVision Live. Hopefully a bit shorter than last week because we had 2 weeks worth of news to discuss last week, but we are going to get straight into it with our leading story this week. In fact, how rude, I've not introduced everyone. I am joined by Jan, who has made some sexy stream transitions and all sorts.
Everything cool about this stream is done by him, so
Everything
Thank
about
you.
the stream is about him. Without Jan, there would be no stream right now.
the week he wasn't here, Liam was struggling.
The 1 week he wasn't here, we didn't have one. I think that says everything. I'm also joined by Dan, who is a resident Ric Flair enthusiast.
woo!
There we go. And Connel, who also exists.
Can confirm.
There we go. So, we're going to get started with our leading story, which is that, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio, The Undertaker's in-ring career is over. Meltzer said on Observer Radio, and I quote, Michael Cole style, "People have a tough time understanding that WWE doesn't control people's lives. Especially with someone like The Undertaker. He worked there for years and years, and his wrestling contract is over. It's done with." End quote. So, The Undertaker's last 2 matches in a WWE ring were at Super Showdown in Australia in that absolute classic against Triple H,
Oh.
and then at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia at the event
Another-
that they don't mention anymore.
They call
So-
it WWE World Cup.
WWE World Cup.
The only time Crown Jewel got mentioned in the last couple of months was when JBL meant to say the greatest Royal Rumble.
Ouch.
That is true. But yeah, so this is sort of following on from last week, because last week we led with the news that Undertaker had sort of removed all WWE references from his social media. He'd sort of been pictured at Impact events and stuff like that with Eli Drake. And that was all sort of rumour and hearsay at the time. It was all sort of like, oh, it seems
This
like he's phasing
explains
himself out.
everything. Yeah, this explains all of that now.
Yeah, this is sort of the confirmation of that. And he has been confirmed for the StarCast 2 event, which takes place the night before and sort of in conjunction with AEW Double or Nothing. So, yeah, Undertaker's WWE career is done. First of all, we'll get into a bit of an in-depth discussion about Undertaker, I think, because I think he deserves it. He doesn't really deserve just a glossing over. The Undertaker, possibly the greatest wrestler of all time.
Not wrestler, but performer and entertainer in WWE. I
Overall,
wouldn't.
sports entertainer of all time.
Yes, sports entertainer. Wrestler, I wouldn't say, but sports entertainer overall, I'd agree. Yes.
Most recognisable as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
And
this,
until now, sort of most in character. Sort of like he kept that mystique for.
except Ric Flair, but
God knows how.
he's always in character. But
Don't mention that name. We're not ready to move on yet.
no, but you're right. Yes, I don't think his in-ring career is finished. I think there's going to be one more match, but not this year. I think they're going to give him a send-off, but a real one, and not just, oh hey, he's done. But yeah, it's
Do we think his next match will be in WWE?
yes,
Yes.
100%. I
I
think
don't think he'll wrestle in another company.
nope.
Never.
He'll show up at like
He's
your local backyard indie fed who for someone down to 25 grand ain't gonna
He's-
afford to pay for him.
he is at StarCast, but he won't be appearing at Double or Nothing.
Who knows?
And I believe he will be wrestling this year, just not at WrestleMania, but for sure at a Saudi event. For 100%.
It was reported at this last week as part of like the sort of hearsay side of things that he wasn't actually scheduled for the Saudi event. Obviously,
Yeah,
that can change. He can easily be
yeah,
scheduled in the
I
future.
believe that
As of
is
now.
going to be changed because, in fact, no one is scheduled for a Saudi
No
event
one
right
gets
now.
scheduled for the Saudi event. If the Saudi prince,
That is true.
if the Saudi prince calls you up and wants you, you're going.
Yes, absolutely. And I also believe that he will be getting a bigger send-off than just, well, I'm off now. I'm now having Twitter and Instagram. I will never be appearing on WWE program again. That's just not going to happen.
I
So-
think it's not. I think the perfect end for him would have been after his loss to Roman Reigns. I think that would have been the perfect end. I don't think he should have came back, but it's him. He can do what he wants. It happens. He will, even if he's not going to wrestle again. I think he's going to have a big appearance again, and I don't think, like Meltzer said, his WWE career is over. In-ring wise, maybe, but not WWE
so
in total.
Gonna pop up every
He's
now and
still-
again. On every big SmackDown, yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Meltzer,
think.
he mentioned that he's got, or not that Undertaker's necessarily got one, but that a lot of the legends, as we know, have legends contracts that allow them to do similar to what Undertaker's doing now in appearing at sort of events off his own back that aren't WWE events, but still very, very, very closely associated. And he will make appearances every now and
Like,
then,
yeah,
and that sort of thing.
And
that one
probably
guy, because Dan will go crazy.
he will probably be maybe be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame this year. At least it's the rumor. And well, among with others, he might even headline the Hall of Fame. There's also an article on the WrestleVision website where you can read about 5 potential headliners for the Hall of Fame this year.
A link to that website is in the description.
And who wrote that article then?
But yeah, I think Roman beating Undertaker was the right finish. Maybe Roman wasn't the right person. But at that time,
yes.
After it happened, it was the right time.
Yes.
Like if you look at it before that happens, you would say Roman shouldn't be the guy to retire him. But as it played out,
it was.
That should have been it.
But to be honest, I think the only perfect time for Undertaker to really retire before the Roman Reigns match was WrestleMania 30 against Brock. After that,
I agree.
I think that would be the 100% perfect time, but that's...
I think he should have finished there as well. Again, it's a case of it shouldn't have been Brock Lesnar, but it was.
I think...
And
who else but Brock Lesnar? Even right now, who else but Brock Lesnar? I think Brock Lesnar was the perfect person, but yeah, no.
Well, in 2010, I believed it could have been Wade Barrett, but that changed.
There's so many different ways that it could have gone.
I think with Taker especially, we're always going to say that would have perfect, that would have great. I don't know, that would be the perfect thing or time to go. Especially.
I mean, we're saying now that we don't think this is going to be his last match. What should be his last match? How should they go about that? If
Kane,
they do another one?
Maybe people won't like it, but I think the perfect... I don't know how the story would play out or how they would do it, but I think it should be Kane. And then they both ride off. I think
maybe as a double retirement, yes.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect way because Undertaker introduced Kane to the WWE really, and both their mystiques kind of grew at the same time. Both elevated each other during that time, I think, and that would be the last match I think Undertaker should have.
Kane is just a huge part of the Undertaker's legacy. The storyline of Kane arriving in the WWE is still one of the best storylines they have ever done.
I think, as well, if you look at the current roster, I don't think there's anyone there that you'd want to see beat him. There's potentially Drew McIntyre is closest, I think.
I don't buy that.
Black, maybe.
That's a shout
as well. But I don't buy that. I don't want that.
I think Kane. It wouldn't be a good match, but I think it would be a good way to end it. It would be a good send-off.
If Sting was still healthy, it could be Taker and Sting finally, but his neck is sort of...
Yeah, and he's also turning 60 this year. Good old Sting, is he?
And he's going to wrestle.
Talking of Sting, we mentioned earlier the StarCast 2 event that Taker's going to be appearing at. And we've got, so far, the full lineup. I looked at the website. There was a couple of more names announced this past week. So I'm just going to go through the full lineup and we can discuss a little bit of it afterwards, maybe. I'm going to try and do this without botching any of the names. Cody, the Young Bucks, Brandy Rhodes, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, SoCal Uncensored, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela and Penelope Ford. They're all sort of the AEW side of things. We've also got Sting, The Undertaker, Bret Hart, Bruce Pritchard, Eric Bischoff, Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Lita, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, Ricky Steamboat, Sean Mooney, Arn Anderson, JJ Dillon, Barry Windham, Tully Blanchard, Tommy Dreamer, Magnum TA, Bill Apter, Joey Ryan, David Arquette, Colt Cabana, Jerry Lynn, Conan, Terry Funk, The Godfather, Rob Van Dam, Lever Bates, Shane Helms, Brian Pillman Jr., Dylan Postel, otherwise known as Hornswoggle, and Ric Flair was also confirmed this past week, but he's not been put. Thanks, Dan. He's not been put on the website for some reason or another. Now, there was apparently rumours that Ric Flair was actually holding off, or Ric Flair and the StarCast people were holding off his announcement because he basically was afraid that if they announced it before they did the angle this past Monday, that WWE would pull their plans of putting Charlotte Flair in the WrestleMania match. They've been rubbish. Them reports, or rumours as they were kind of, they weren't true. It just happened to be how it happened.
Why would they punish Charlotte for something Rick is doing? That makes no sense.
Exactly.
They have never.
They have been rubbish.
In the history.
WWE aren't petty. Why don't we ever be petty? They've never been petty before in their life.
Never been petty in their life. What are you on about?
I mean, in the time I've been watching wrestling and actively reading news about it, I never heard WWE punishing someone else for something someone else has done.
Yeah.
It's always in relation, and they have never punished, even if it's family-wise. I mean, they would have punished Natalia even more for some things Bret Hart had said and stuff like that, but never happened.
It was. I actually think it was Meltzer that
was punishment enough.
I think it was Meltzer that first said that, and then it was Fightful Select that sort of said it's not true. I might be wrong on that, but they're the two things that I think were associated with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, StarCast 2. I do encourage you to head over to the website and check it out.
Basically, everyone is there.
Yeah, every wrestler you could ever think of that isn't currently contracted to WWE.
It's the Smash Bros. Ultimate of wrestling events.
Now, we're going to move on from StarCast, which is the night before Double or Nothing, to the company that is behind Double or Nothing, AEW. And we're going to start with the reports that former, I think, I'm going to say multi-time because I'm not sure, multi-time WWE champion Batista has been in talks with both WWE, six-time WWE champion Batista has been in talks with both WWE and AEW over a deal. Now, WWE want him to sign for a WrestleMania 35 match, which would probably be against Triple H. That wasn't a part of the report. It was Pro Wrestling Sheet that reported it. That's just me guessing the Triple H part. And apparently Batista is 50-50 on whether he wants to re-sign with WWE because he's also listening to AEW. And this just kind of continues the trend of AEW really are. You know, they really have the potential to compete with WWE.
I think in this situation, especially one of Batista's best friends, we have the picture up right now, is Chris Jericho, and he's heavily involved in AEW, and I think that's a good reason why he's talking with AEW. And I think Chris Jericho is kind of the link there, but I think it's for Batista what he likes more at the time. He has to make a decision. I don't think he has anything against the WWE idea, the AEW idea. I think it's just what he feels more at the time he has to make a decision.
And it could come down to finances as well, in which case,
yeah, sure.
If AEW really want him, AEW will be the ones that get him.
Yep.
Well, for years now.
Batista is not exactly poor. He's a part of like the biggest Hollywood movie series of all time. So he's not going to sign strictly just for the money. If he really wants this.
Not strictly, but if someone offers you money to do something and someone offers you more to do the same thing, you're going to take them more.
It depends how much
he
really wants this match with Triple H.
Like I said, it's what he wants more at the time. He has to make a decision. And if he doesn't feel the Triple H match, he's going to go to AEW and do whatever is happening over there at the time. Otherwise, he's going to maybe WWE. But
let's get Batista versus Brock Lesnar and not the WWE ring.
Ooh.
And Orton. And The Rock. Not The Rock, I was joking.
Well,
And-
also Batista turned 50 this
And-
year, and he's mentioned numerous times
He's
on
turned
various
50.
different outlets that he wants to retire in WWE and wants to have his match against Triple H, and Triple H is most certainly not going to AEW, and therefore I believe eventually he will make the decision to go to WWE and not
Yeah.
AEW.
He does want that Triple H match, so and Triple H has been cleared as well. So
Let him have it so that Triple
That's-
H cannot fight someone that doesn't need to fight him. Rather see this than have Triple H fight AJ Styles.
and win. So yeah.
Lost 3 years in a row.
Staying
It's a combination of a storyline, so it would make sense storyline-wise to have Triple H versus Batista.
With Ric Flair as a special guest referee. And
Why
he-
not?
And
Yeah,
and
and
Randy
Rex would have
Orton
done
as
nothing before.
and Orton is the special guest timekeeper. Yeah, for sure.
Evans ends up into the match and wins.
You know, you've just said Ric Flair could be special referee.
He could.
He probably will.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
will.
So Orton will be the referee and Rick will be the timekeeper, I guess.
Flair will be on commentary.
Ric
On
Flair.
commentary. Or the
Can
ring
you
announcer. Woo!
Oh, no.
Making his way to the ring.
We're getting Ric Flair drip at WrestleMania. That's our WrestleMania live musical performance.
Yes.
Oh God!
Some Ric
Just
Flair.
imagine Ric Flair entering on the stage with a Ric Flair drip, and then that is perfectly mixed into his normal theme, and he just goes onto the ring. Oh shit! Nope.
Moving on. We've talked about Ric Flair far too much already.
Only 2 hours to go with more Ric Flair.
Continuing with the AEW theme, we're going to touch on a bit of Double or Nothing news because tickets went on sale, pre-sale, I think last weekend, and then public sale this past Wednesday.
Monday, I think. Wasn't it Monday?
Monday.
I think
Monday and
no,
Wednesday.
no. I think pre-sale on Monday and general sale on Wednesday or something.
General were definitely, General Wednesday, so yeah. The pre-sale tickets, according to F4W Online, sold out in about 25 minutes, which is very impressive indeed. And even more impressive, the public tickets sold out in 4. That's-
Holy. That's impressive.
There's not really quite a lot we can say about that. That's quick. Moving on.
That is
The full card at
a
the
lot of
minute.
things that wouldn't last 4 minutes. That's longer than.
Talking of things that wouldn't last 4 minutes, the full card, as it stands, is Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, Pac versus Adam Page, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, So-Called Uncensored versus CIMA and 2 Oriental Wrestling OWE wrestlers, and the match that was added this week, which is a women's triple threat, which is Kylie Ray versus Nyla Rose versus Dr. Britt Baker. The last one doesn't particularly excite me, largely because I don't know much about either of the three, but
Well,
it will be
Britt
good. It will be a
Baker
good
is
show.
the girlfriend of
I'd say.
Adam Cole, so that's
Hey, man.
some information for you.
And staying on the same theme, WrestleTalk reported exclusively that the sort of planned schedule from now until October. So from May, in May, for God's sake, May 25th will be Double or Nothing. That's confirmed. We know that at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. We know that that's happening. Now, in June, the following month, this is going by the report, there is going to be an unspecified show which will be held somewhere in the USA, don't know where. In July, there's going to be an unnamed show in Jacksonville, Florida, with a portion of the proceeds going to anti-gun crime charities. They've already expressed their feelings about that, Cody especially. And then the interesting one that's caused a little bit of debate is August. Some point in August, they're apparently going to be at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England. Now, there have been people saying that the Royal Albert Hall in London, England is fully booked because of the problems that happen every August, and it's fully booked for the entirety of August, so that's impossible. Now, I don't know how true that is, and I don't know the validity of the report. You know, I'm led to believe, obviously, that it's reputable, but there could be inaccuracies, obviously, with any report. There could be a chance that they got the wrong venue. There could be a chance that, although that is the planned venue, which is what the report is the planned schedule, that the guys that run AEW don't know that that's booked out yet, which, I mean, would be quite worrying because we're a couple of months away already. But there could be a mistake in there. But anyway, August 2019, the plan is for the Royal Albert Hall in London. September, there's going to be All Out, which is the official sequel to All In, and the full launch of the brand prior to TV tapings beginning. So that's going to be the big coming out party for AEW, as it were. And
Randy Orton all wrestle.
That's where Randy Orton, Batista, Brock Lesnar, The Rock, they all turn up. Ronda Rousey's obviously, you know, everyone's going, oh, she's just leaving to start a family, obviously going to AEW. The September event is likely to be in the Sears Centre. We can't confirm this yet. And then in October, that's going to be the start of weekly TV, which is, what is it? Tuesday Night Dynamite, I believe. The thing they,
Yes.
So
the TV deal is what we're gonna really find out about, like how fast they sell tickets. Because obviously, with the Double or Nothing, they're all going to try and go because I think it's like some sort of historic event. But once they start running the weekly shows, then we'll be able to gauge the audience from there. Because all the events will sell out really fast because they're new.
Because it's new. Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, Chris Jericho's come out and said Dan's disappeared, I think. Has Dan disappeared? No, he's back. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Chris Jericho. He was saying that apparently they have got a really, really good TV deal. This follows on from what Meltzer said last week, that it is the best TV deal since WCW in terms of rivaling WWE. So by that account,
but to be honest, that's not really that hard because there has been no one with the money behind the company to get a deal like that.
That's true. The closest you'd probably say was Spike for TNA.
Yeah, got Impact on Spike would probably be the closest so far.
Yeah. And that's far, far, far away. But let's make on that topic. There are a few major networks. Which network do you think they could go on?
I don't know American TV network.
Well, probably looks like either WGN, who hosted WWE Superstars before.
They also hosted the All In pre-show, didn't they?
Yes, they also did that. The other one is the TNT network or the TNN network. I'm not sure about that, but one of these channels have in their top positions. They are friends of the Khan family, and so there might be a deal there.
Okay. I just wanted to say USA Network, but they have Raw still, and SmackDown at that time would be gone. But
I have both.
It won't be an NBC channel because NBC is WWE territory.
Yeah, but NBC can. I don't know what's in the contracts, but they could do it. I don't know.
No, they can't. They can't. They just have a deal with WWE, and the WWE sees them not hosting any other wrestling events.
The question is whether they get TV abroad or not.
I think
that's a big question.
UK TV.
I
mean, I'm sure they'll get UK TV because we've had I can't even remember who it was. We've had I think. Oh, it might not have been Rev Pro. There was some sort of major, minor-ish UK.
I mean, World of Sports. I mean, World of Sports.
The World of Sports got on ITV. I doubt AEW would get on ITV because it's not aimed at families. Because it's aimed at wrestling fans. It's not going to get as big a deal as WOS.
Nah, I was about Sky is also unlikely because they have WWE.
Sky's got
BT.
I think BT Sport or Eurosport, someone like that.
Yeah,
They won't land deal in Germany, tell you that much.
Yep,
Like
sadly.
Channel 5.
We'll see.
ITV4, I don't know. Anyway,
We'll see.
I hope it's not BT Sport because I'm not paying BT Sport subscription. Oh well. Moving on from AEW now, we've got WWE. So we'll do a bit of a recap of the major news that came out of this week's Raw and SmackDown, and then we'll get into our Elimination Chamber predictions briefly. So on Raw, the big news coming out of Raw this week was that they have pulled Becky Lynch out of the WrestleMania match against Ronda Rousey and replaced her with Charlotte Flair. Becky is storyline suspended for 60 days, which ends 5 days after WrestleMania.
Too obvious.
And yeah, it's one of them. They've sort of telegraphed how they're doing it, but people got angry anyway.
Of course they did.
Yeah, because the way they did it, and I think it's brilliant. I'll say it again. The way I think the first few segments with Becky slapping, and that was kind of iffy how they would go about it. But the turnout this week and how they did it, it played out perfect for me. It makes sense. It works great. It portrays Charlotte as that corporal heel, and it works great. The way they did it this week works out perfect.
I agree, because that was the thing with Charlotte is they were portraying her as a babyface, yet we all hated her because she was anti-Becky Lynch and whatever.
Yep.
And I think this is proof that they've gauged our reactions and they've worked it out and they're going to boo her, so let's make them boo her even more. And they have achieved that with the Vince thing.
Yep.
I think that was perfect. Like you say, I think the last 2 weeks, or the last whenever it started with Triple H and Steph,
It was
I think
last
that
week.
week.
It was last week on
week.
Raw. So
Yeah, I think that was terrible. I think that was appalling
Yep.
in terms of Becky Lynch's character. But I think they've sort of overshadowed. I still think it's sort of undermined Becky slightly, but not enough.
yes, maybe,
ruined
but the way they make it turn out, the way they turned it around, I think that's the way.
Because the way it ended, no one's talking about the fact that Triple H and Steph emasculated Becky. They're talking about the fact that Charlotte's in the match.
Yep.
So everyone's forgotten about that part of it, which is good, obviously.
They're doing now with Charlotte what they should have been doing with Roman ages ago, and it's funny. Because obviously the issue would have been they could try and add Charlotte in as a baby face and that would put the whole thing in. I actually think this hurts Ronda a lot more than it hurts Becky, because with Becky and Ronda one-on-one, it was obvious cheer Becky, boo Ronda. But now with Charlotte in, it's going to be boo Charlotte, cheer Becky. Ronda, we don't hate you.
Ronda's in this weird position where they're trying to keep her as a babyface, but it's not going to happen.
Because they're adding trying to keep Ronda the face, but they still don't like Ronda, but they don't hate her as much as they hate Charlotte. She's in that weird Randy Orton slot.
I think, but that's always the problem with storylines that involve 2 or more people. I think there's always that guy that is going to be booed, to be cheered, and there's one guy that it's kind of like
the optional extra.
Yeah, it's like
the Orton role at Mania 30 is like the perfect example, because they were booing Batista, he loved Bryan, and Orton was just in the match.
Yep.
That's what Ronda
And
is
it's
now.
the same situation as well because he's the champion.
Yep.
Or he was. It's the exact. It's sort of a carbon copy.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Kind of.
It would have been the exact same if Charlotte would have won the Rumble.
Yeah.
Because Becky wouldn't have been in it, and just funny.
But I think, hopefully, I don't know how they're going to go about actually getting Becky back in. I hope she doesn't do anything at the Chamber because I think it's too soon.
Dan needs to close his ears right now. He's going to beat up Ric Flair on his birthday celebration.
No. I know what it is. It's WWE actually turning Triple H and Stephanie McMahon against Vince. That's the storyline they're going to do because they acted unaware when Vince McMahon showed up and said it's going to be Charlotte Flair and I suspend Becky. And I believe that Triple H, because Becky is an NXT girl, don't forget about that, he will stand in for Becky, and Stephanie will actually support her husband, and Paul and Steph will actually turn against their father-in-law, and Vince McMahon will slightly fade out of the television, out of his television appearances, because they will change something here and will make Triple H and Stephanie the big authority guys, and they will try for some time make them baby faces, and they will support Becky Lynch. That's what the storyline, and they will reinstate Becky so she can be in that match.
But they're probably going to do Stephanie versus Becky after WrestleMania.
No, I don't. I think that's been dropped.
They're planning that for SummerSlam.
I think that's been dropped because they didn't mention the knee at any point this week. So I believe that storyline has been dropped. And they are now focusing on turning Triple H and Stephanie against Vince.
We're going to get a repeat of a McMahon in every corner, with Vince in Charlotte's corner, Triple H in Becky's corner, and Stephanie in Ronda's.
Shane's just running around with his trophy.
Shane comes in, he goes, whoa, 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 we need to add Nia Jax in the big And then Linda comes out. She's in Alexa Bliss's corner.
Who else is it? Shane's kids as well.
Yeah. No, Linda's actually wrestling in the match. And winning.
Linda in his corner.
Women's champion Linda McMahon.
It's what we all want to see. Talking of things we all want to see.
Yeah, tongue of champions.
Revival won the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah! Say yeah!
Yeah! We go hard all day, all night.
All my brothers, all my people, are you ready to fight?
Say yeah!
Say yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah.
Reaction.
You get the idea. How coincidental.
Yeah, I'm sure there's nothing. No news recently. Yeah.
Actually, I saw a tweet earlier today that I believe Scott Dawson put out, and he says, if you whine and moan long enough, you finally achieve what you want. And then showed a picture of himself and Dash holding the tag team titles. So
a couple of side things in this. We'll go over it because why not? Revival requested their release a couple of weeks ago. A few weeks ago, after a match with the Lucha House Party, because they were fed up of the Raw Tag Division being an absolute joke, and the Tag Division as a whole of being an absolute joke, and the fact they had to wrestle a match with Kalisto.
I'd press my release if I had to wrestle Kalisto. Not gonna lie.
But they were declined the release for obvious reasons. Their contracts expire in April. And now WWE is seemingly kind of... It could have gone two ways. It could have gone the Neville way of, okay, then go home. Or it could have gone the way of the Revival, in which, okay, then we'll give you what you want.
I think...
Are you
ready for Mike Connell to debut on Raw next week and beat Balor for the IC title out of nowhere?
I think the situation with the Revival is WWE saw what they had to lose right here. I think with Neville it was, yeah, he's good, but is he that good? I mean in their eyes, and in that situation I think WWE saw, holy shit, I'm sorry.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's the fact that AEW exists now. I think if the Neville thing happened, if the Neville thing happened now, they'd do the same because
would let him go. Yeah,
I think the same. They see what they have to lose in potential. They see what they have on their hand, and that it's everyone wants them, and now there's the threat of AEW, so they want to hold them even more. So yeah.
Whilst in all this, I was really growing to appreciate the Bobby Roode Chad Gable tag team, and I feel bad because the reign was so sugar, because they never really got a chance to do what they could have done. Like they didn't. I don't think they ever cut a promo on Raw.
Not
just
apart
shows-
from them little ones during their entrance in the
Yeah,
corner.
and I skipped them, so yeah, I never actually saw them cut an actual. It was just the whole division was just messed up.
Yeah. Hopefully,
like-
the fact the Revival have won the championships means they have some sort of control over it now, in terms of we don't want to fight these guys, and then WWE go, oh, okay then, because if the Revival have the balls to just say, well, if you make us do stupid things, we won't turn up anymore, and we've got the championship, so.
Yeah,
depends if they go about it.
I
It's not-
don't think they would do that, because then after that they wouldn't have any
Yeah.
money left.
I don't think
Anything.
it's unprofessional.
Yeah, I
they-
think that's the same. I think they will.
I didn't mean in an unprofessional way. I just sort of meant in a that was a bad example. What I sort of mean is, I don't know. I can't think of a way to explain it. But if they ask them to do a stupid thing, they'll just either say no or do something different.
Try to use that pressure and force WWE to book a serious tag team division, or sort of serious tag team division.
Speaking of people who do what they want and don't do stupid stuff,
I think it's a sort of a Daniel Bryan situation, in terms of they didn't want to lose him, so eventually they just had to listen to him, and I think it could end up being the same with the Revival.
We'll see.
But I mean,
Yes.
it remains to be seen. They might lose the championships next week. We don't actually know yet.
We don't know. They want to bring back the old tag team titles. In
Yeah.
Oh, I
fact,
forgot to mention that. Yeah.
That would be dope. That would be awesome.
People,
And
people. I've seen
also-
people say.
but then they
Yeah.
wouldn't match the SmackDown ones. We can't have that.
it also
No,
looks like
I've seen people saying that WWE should just make new ones, because going backwards isn't sort of what we want to be doing. Because we always criticise WWE for, going back in history to what worked to an old formula. But it's literally the Revival's entire gimmick to bring back tradition. So I don't
Not
understand the
only
argument.
that, but I don't think the titles right now, especially the Raw titles, look bad. I think they look good. But first of all, it will
Debatable.
fit the Revival gimmick. And to be honest, let's see what happened with the Intercontinental Championship. It was the same thing. It's an old design from, I think, the 90s or 80s right now that they have right now. And
80s. Yeah.
and it turned out perfect. No one complained, hey, that's the old title belt.
It's the most beautiful belt in the whole company.
Yep.
Yes. And another thing is that for WrestleMania, it looks like that Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder are closing in actually on a WrestleMania match. It's probably for the kickoff, but it looks like it because they have no other teams left, and so it looks really like they're going with Revival
Baron
versus
Corbin
Kurt
and
Hawkins
Drew
and Zack
McIntyre.
Ryder.
Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre.
They are
Braun
not a
Strowman
tag
and
team.
Nicholas.
It's gonna
Nicholas
be
is going to make a big
Corbin.
return.
Corbin and Braun are gonna. No, Corbin and McIntyre are gonna win the belts and defend them against Kurt Angle and Braun at Mania.
I think I just want to puke right now.
No, it's going to be
Okay.
Ryder and Hawkins versus the Revival.
We're going to move on quickly because I don't want to talk about that anymore. Dean Ambrose.
The possibility is sinking in.
Dean Ambrose went off script, apparently. His promo on Raw, he came out. Seth Rollins was cutting a promo about Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins, we'll get into a little bit more later. Seth Rollins was cutting a promo on Brock Lesnar. Dean Ambrose came out for his match against EC3, and Ambrose was scheduled to cut a rather lengthy promo about the Shield and Roman Reigns and how he wanted Seth to overcome Lesnar for Reigns and all that kind of thing. And instead he just said one line, and I've forgotten to write it down, and I've forgotten what it was. Someone remind me.
Go slay the beast, or
Yeah.
Go and slay
Yeah,
the beast.
something,
That's it.
something like that. Yeah.
And I think that's, he does what he wants. What more
Yeah,
can you
and
say?
To be
He's
honest-
got
I
98
believe I've got a theory here. He did that,
Oh,
so EC3 has more time to shine in the match following, and that's actually why EC3 told or said during the match that Dean Ambrose is great, because he randomly started talking in that match and pointed at Dean and said he's great. I believe Dean cut his promo short, so the two of could have had more match time, and actually he gave EC3 the chance to shine a little bit more.
What matches came after that?
EC3 versus Dean Ambrose. So
yeah, but what matches? Or was that the last match? Because I can't remember thinking after that happened. This match seems like it's gone longer than it should. Because obviously they'd have to make up the time, and that's what you're saying there. But it's not like the Ambrose against EC3 match was long. It's not like it went 10 minutes.
They gave them to Triple H.
But that didn't seem like a long segment either. That didn't seem like they drew it out. I mean, they might have done, but it didn't seem like it. I can't remember. I think Ambrose EC3 might have been the last match, because was that not the segment before they did the Becky Lynch?
I think, yeah.
I'm gonna get it up now. I can't quite remember.
Go on WrestleTalk.com and look at the live coverage.
That's literally what I'm doing. Oh no, he got the tag match. The tag match got more time, obviously. The tag match went quite a while, didn't it? And I don't think that was. I'm assuming that wasn't planned. I'm assuming Ambrose did that. Looking at it now, that makes sense. That they asked Ambrose to do that potentially, or he did that out of the good of his heart, or something like that. Gave them four guys more time to have a good match. Because I remember thinking.
But he did it because he said he was tired of all the Hoagie stuff. And not 2 months ago on TV, Dean was saying that he hated the Shield, he burnt the Shield vest, and he said he was glad Roman had cancer. So going back on that out of nowhere just 2 months later would have seemed weird. Yeah. So he just thought, no, do that.
The line that he said, it didn't turn him baby.
He didn't say "I love you, Seth," or
it didn't turn him babyface. It just showed that there's still a sort of a brotherhood there, which I think what he did was far better than what it would have been. So. I think you could say that for almost every WWE promo of all time.
Something touching on that on an earlier thing we had about the TV deal and AEW and stuff. I just got a notification on Twitter that Dave Meltzer tweeted something in response to someone. The guy said, guys, AEW needs to get over 2 million views to be anything better than TNA was on Spike and a threat. And Dave Meltzer's response to that was just, actually, they need to make $1 profit to be 67 million ahead of TNA. That's what we talked about with money-wise and what AEW has and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think comparisons between TNA and AEW are impossible to make because of the financial differences.
Yep.
I don't think you can. I mean, you can compare them in the fact that they're second to WWE, but you can't compare them in terms of how close they are to WWE because TNA were miles off.
Yep. Agreed. But now back on to
the Ambrose. Yeah, the Ambrose thing. We finished up on that anyway. Kevin Owens caught a promo in a bowling alley on his phone. Says he's returning in about a month.
Yeah, he told us, or he showed us that he is he's great to come back because he won't be a bowling champion. He will be a wrestling champion.
Which was the start of the whole show.
Yeah, so he cut a promo on his phone which was odd and unique, and he showed it looked like he's going to be a babyface now.
You see, promos like this on the phone, I think, make sense. But like last year, they had habits where they were talking backstage on their phone and flashy words were flying on the screen. No, they were just no. But like if you're out of the arena and you're sending a message, stuff like that, that makes sense to use the phone.
It's like that was similar to, and it's in no way similar in terms of its content. The Jeff Hardy drugged up shoot on CM Punk, in terms of it felt like, you know, real, because it was in a natural environment. You know, he was genuinely just bowling with his pals, sort of thing.
Yep.
It just felt like a natural program. Anyway, I think the most interesting news.
The more interesting news is I think he's going to SmackDown, because I don't think they'd have thrown that line in there if he was staying on Raw. He wouldn't have said.
And also, what's interesting is the fact that all the reports said that he was due to return after WrestleMania.
I think he could be returning in a month, but he won't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he just said he would be ready in a month, but not that he is.
In about a month. He said in about a month.
And so WrestleMania is in 2? No, in 1.5, right?
He said in about a month, so that leaves the door open to just not return at WrestleMania, but after WrestleMania.
We're going to get into this later on, obviously, but this now makes me believe even more that Lashley is going to beat Finn.
Nope.
And probably defend it at Mania against Kevin Owens.
I think Finn is going to beat Lashley. They somehow gonna draw the storyline on. Have Finn. I don't have the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental title at Mania again, or the ladder match or whatever, and after Mania have and face.
But Owens is going to be a face.
I think yes, but maybe Bella will turn heel, or they have just face, or they have Kevin as a heel anyway. I don't know.
Or they will do the typical WWE move, let him debut or return as a face, and then turn heel on the same night.
Yeah.
Or I think Balor will win by DQ, which is what my actual prediction said. And then at Fastlane, if Owens is okay to go, he might pop up there and screw Lashley.
We'll see.
My original prediction was that Lashley and Rush were going to be the ones to beat the Revival, or to beat Roode and Gable. And then if Sami Zayn was ready, it was going to be Owens and Zayn against Bobby Lashley and Leo for the title Mania. Because
imagine Owens and Zayn against the Revival.
That would be dope.
Yeah, better match, but the story wouldn't work as well. Because in kayfabe, Bobby Lashley injured both Sami Zayn and Kevin.
Oh yeah, he should definitely be. I mean, I think that might be why Owens dropped the SmackDown thing, because they want to separate Owens and Zayn finally. A lot of people are saying they should bring them back as a team. It depends which way they want to go about them, because I don't think you can have them on the same brand but separate, because they tried that and they always end up coming together in some way.
When they did that 1 week of TV where they said it was going to be a new era and they aired the Owens and Zayn vignettes, that one heavily implied that Sami was still going to be a heel when he came back. And this one implies that Owens is going to be a face. So they're going to team. So maybe he will go to SmackDown. But watch him go to SmackDown, Sami will come back the night after Mania, and then in the shake-up, we've shaken him up to SmackDown, guys.
Talking of SmackDown, the SmackDown news. The major news from SmackDown was regarding the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match, and that Mustafa Ali has been pulled through injury. That was first reported by Fightful Select. Mustafa Ali has been pulled by injury because of multiple injuries that have built up. He's had ongoing back problems. He's had the eye problem that Orton gave him, and then on a house show on the weekend, he got a concussion during a tag match that was him and Ty Dillinger against Shelton Benjamin and possibly Andrade or someone of that nature. And was it Joe? It was Joe, yeah. And they replaced him with Kofi Kingston, and at the time I went, well, that's a bit of a naff pick, isn't it? And then the match happened, and then Kofi did his thing, and then I've absolutely changed my mind.
Yep.
Agreed.
I think
think-
they just choose Kofi because they wanted a high flyer in that match. Kofi was the best and most logical option and the best they could have at that moment, so they just took Kofi. I think that's one, if not the only reason Kofi is in there.
I mean, Woods can do that as well. Woods is perfectly
Woods
capable.
could do,
Yeah.
but I think Kofi even.
I think the more possible reason is that they said they want a guy from New Day, and then the other two went, we want it to be Kofi.
Yeah.
It,
They
if you-
always said that Kofi is the best and the most deserving in that team. They
WWE,
Oh, goal
WWE
of the
released
game.
like a 7-minute video on their YouTube channel
Yeah.
with Big E and Xavier Woods just saying that they wanted Kofi to be in the match, and they've been beating that drum that Kofi Kingston deserves a world title shot for quite some time.
not even a
And
shot. He
Big
deserves
E
a
and
run.
Xavier they weren't in character in that moment. They were generally talking from the heart that they wanted Kofi to have his moment to shine. So I actually believe that Big E and Xavier Woods went in and said they wanted to be Kofi.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, at the time, I thought it should have gone to one of the younger members, because my mentality was they'd benefit more in the long term, from being in the match. But like I say, Kofi in that gauntlet absolutely proved why he is deserving of being in the match. I don't think the gauntlet is a sign that he's going to win. I think it was just a case of they're building him up to be on the same level as the other guys, because otherwise he'd have come in down here. But now they've seen him in the gauntlet, people are genuinely saying there's a chance he could win, and there is a chance he could win. But
I would
think
love
it's
it.
unlikely.
I would really
I would
hope
absolutely love it.
if they would do a Santino Marella-like spot with Kofi Kingston, so that he actually, it feels like he's going to win, but in the last second, Daniel Bryan is winning the match. But
Because that would be excellent for Brian as well.
yeah, it was actually with Bryan.
You stopped Santino originally anyway, so coming full circle.
It was Orton that won the gauntlet. After all that time, Kofi was wrestling for over an hour. One RKO from Orton wins it. He is going to be entering the chamber at number 6. Some people don't like this. Some people are saying, oh, it takes out the mystery element. I don't care, because it's going to be a good match anyway. Doesn't make a difference.
I care even less about that than I do about them announcing number 30 Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chamber now, now we've covered that, we can get into the chamber pay-per-view. Me, Connell and Dan aren't going to go particularly in depth here, because you can check out our predictions on the website, which is in the description. It will be the first article you see. Click the link at the bottom of the description that says check out our website, WrestleVisionYT.wordpress.com. Go there and you'll see our predictions in depth, but Jan didn't have time to give his. So we're going to go through now and get them and their reasoning. So the pre-show match, which they're never going to learn, are they, is the Cruiserweight title match. And it's Buddy Murphy defending against Akira Tozawa, the man who first beat Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship.
I predicted Murphy. As you will see in the article, it's just my winners in there. I think Murphy, he's the guy right now. I think he's going to hold the title till Mania and lose it to someone that's the one and only there, but I don't think he's going to lose to Tozawa tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think whoever he loses to at WrestleMania, I don't think they're on 205 Live right now. I think there's a few people it could be. I'd like it to be Ricochet.
That's what I said with the one and only.
Yeah. A lot of people would moan about that and go, why is Ricochet on 205 Live? I don't watch 205 Live. Watch 205 Live then.
It's a phenomenal show. I don't get why people don't watch it.
The best show they do. I don't understand people that don't watch it.
Yep.
That's a discussion for another video. I'm sure I'll make a video at some point about that. Other people have said Tyler Bate could be one. I could also see that, but I don't think they'd take him out of NXT UK yet, because I think you take Tyler Bate out of NXT UK, you'd lose a big part of NXT UK.
Not only in Tyler Bate,
Kushida-
but in Mustache
not be on
Mountain
both,
as
though.
well, by the way.
You not be on both.
He
Like,
could,
could be on
but
both, yeah.
does both.
It
now.
could be on both.
could be,
Yeah.
could be, but if
Kushida's one that people
Kush-
have said
Ooh.
could
that
happen.
could happen, yeah. I could see that.
Umberto Carrillo, obviously he is on
Nope.
205 Live at the minute, but he's only just got there. I don't think they'll do that, but
Nope.
that's a
Yeah.
name that's been thrown around.
The
The other name
Brian
that's been
Kemp.
thrown around is Tony Nese, because him and Murphy had a little pact. It's seemingly gone away randomly, but they had a little pact maybe a couple of months ago when Murphy first became champion. And I don't know if that's all going to come full circle and they're going to have a match. I don't know.
We'll see.
Because 205 Live has this really good way of storylines going sort of under the radar, like the Brian Kendrick Juku, like Jack Gallagher thing. It was a big storyline, but it sort of played out. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't told to children that don't understand things. It was, it took a little bit of brain functioning for people to understand what was going on. But that was what was good
And
about
they
it. I think it could be
WWE fans have a brain, silly.
Well, that's the thing, because it's put by Vince, the main roster. You got 205 booked by Triple H. That's the difference. It's very obvious to see.
Yep.
Talking of things that get booked by Vince, Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin is happening again, but this time it's an ODQ match. I think this is the match that was meant to be TLC.
Yep.
Who's your prediction? I don't really
Braun,
want
it's Braun Strowman. I don't see why Corbin would win this. It makes no sense. That's it.
Moving on. Lashley and Rush against Finn Balor for the IC title. Obviously, the interesting thing is that they've gone with a handicap match, not just Lashley against Balor.
And I think...
Because they want to extend the feud.
Yep, I think I have predicted Balor. I think the only reason Balor has been, the last few months, has been portrayed as not good enough, not strong enough, not big enough, whatever. And I think the reason they have put Rush in that match as well, to make him seem even stronger, even better, that he can overcome the odds, to make him look even stronger.
Is that not counterproductive?
Oh, is it, when they want
No.
to
Saying
get
that
Bella
Finn
over?
isn't big and strong enough to beat Lashley, and then having him pin someone smaller than him.
I don't say he's going to pin Rush. I just think having him in the match as an extra opponent. I
think what Connell's saying is how people are going to interpret it, because people aren't idiots. I think what Jan's saying is how WWE think people are going to interpret it. He beat two people.
Yeah, right. I
But
think
people will see through that and go, well, he beat the smaller man, so...
Now, I still think he's going to pin Lashley. I think that, but I think WWE thought behind it is, hey, he beat two people, even if Rush is one of them. But I think Rush is an awesome competitor. He's an awesome guy. I like that he's on Raw.
They gave them a semi-competitive match on Raw. It wasn't a squash.
That's why I think it's a bit more like, hey, there was an extra threat there. It makes him it makes Finn look a bit better. I still think he's going to pin Lashley though.
Next match is Ronda
versus Ruby.
Defending the Raw Women's Championship against Ruby Riott. Charlotte is apparently going to be in the front row for this one. I didn't actually see that being announced, but people have been talking about it.
It was on Twitter.
It's obviously Ronda. It's sad to say, but Ruby is just a transitional opponent here.
I was going to say, I called Tozawa the definition of a filler opponent in the article, and I'd like to apologise to him if he is watching, because that's what Ruby is.
Yep.
More so.
Yep.
They had one angle on TV. They haven't even interacted at all, and they're just going on as if Ronda has already won the match.
Yep.
I think there'll be shenanigans because Charlotte's there.
Yeah, but Ronda's still going to win.
I think it'll be a good match as well. I'm
Yeah.
not saying Ronda's not going to win, obviously.
Yeah, but
It'll be a good match.
Ruby is a transitional opponent. That's it.
Yeah. I think Ronda is very similar to Brock Lesnar. Obviously, she shows up to work more than him, but it's very much a case of no one can beat her because everyone's sort of a step below. She's sort of held the division hostage in terms of no one's beaten her.
I actually think of the two women's divisions, if we're counting Charlotte and Becky as part of the Raw division, that it's actually Asuka doing the same thing on SmackDown. Because
I don't think that's Asuka's fault.
it's not her. They took their credible opponents away.
Yeah, I think the situations that are different are the way they've done it on Raw is that they've built Ronda as this massive star, and while other things have been going on in the background, Ronda's too far ahead. What I think's happened on SmackDown is they just haven't built anyone else at all.
They built their core, and then two of them went to Raw, and now they've got Asuka
And then
floating.
the others are in the tag match.
Yep.
Now they've got Asuka floating around, waiting to face Naomi at WrestleMania.
Well, I think we'll get into that in time for WrestleMania, but it's...
Talking of the tag match, the first ever women's tag team title match, Elimination Chamber. Going to remember them all. Nia Jax, Tamina, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Absolution, Riot Squad, Iconics, and Carmella and Naomi.
I hate my prediction on this, but Nia Jax and Tamina. I think they're going to win. I don't want them to win, but I think they're going to win. I hope Sasha and Bayley. I don't want, not because I like them the most, but because
The most credible.
yes.
I
Indeed.
think that if Sasha got cleared by herself, and they're still bringing it up, like on WWE.com, it's going to play into the match, and she'll eliminate Nia or something,
Yep.
and then the shoulder will play up, and then one of the heels, probably Mandy and Sonya, will get the win because Sasha is injured.
I think
Yeah, I
saying
mentioned.
Mandy and Sonya there, I think that's. I'm not saying. I don't know. Iconics fit that, I think, because they did the thing on SmackDown that they played it smart in terms of the tag match. I moaned about this relentlessly when it happened on Raw. They did the triple threat tag match, and the gimmick was that whoever got pinned lost. Whoever got pinned had to start the chamber. So the logic there is just don't get in the ring so you can't get pinned. And on Raw, the teams were just tagging themselves into the match, so risking themselves getting pinned and therefore making themselves look like morons. Whereas the Iconics on SmackDown just stepped down and watched it.
Yeah,
I think that was the smartest thing to do. And
I think
if they carry that through, I think that exact thing could happen with the Iconics. And I also think the Iconics are more likely than Absolution to win the tag titles, because I think Mandy is likely to go on for a singles title and having the tag
But I
titles.
think they can give this to Mandy for the time being, till we get after Mania, where she can go for the singles belt when she gets moved over to Raw.
Yeah.
And I think Iconics will do the cliche spot of, our pod's open, but we'll shut the pod door. You can't get us. And then Nia will bulldoze
Nia
it.
Jax just
How she
headbutt.
is. Nia will bulldoze it through like the cow she is, pull them out and pin them.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in our private chat, but that match is the only one we don't 100% agree on. And will be interesting to see, because it's a match where multiple teams could win. And yeah,
I mean, if I had to pick one, if someone came up to me and said, "Who do you want to win?" I'd actually probably say the Riot Squad, because I think the evolution of the Riot Squad since they debuted as this random three people that were just randomly put together because it just suited the fact that they needed three extra women.
Need a women for the Rumble,
Yeah.
but it
But
worked
they've
out great.
turned into a really, really good outfit, very similar to the Bar.
Yeah.
When they got put together, obviously there was more logic to the Bar being put together because of the best of seven series. But still, it's just two singles guys that you put together. I think the Riot Squad very similar to that in the fact that three random people put together, they've never interacted before, but they've turned out to be a very good team and a very believable team. You know, they feel like they're close because they are.
Because they're starting to match. When they first debuted, they all looked completely different. But now they're actually starting to match. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when tag teams don't match each other.
I think Mandy and Sonya still suffer from that.
I think the thing is, don't they? Or if Mandy has black gear, Sonya has black gear. Of course, Sonya has that LGBT factor in her gear now more often, but I think the colors overall still match.
Yeah,
I think.
I was gonna say I think that I picked Mandy and Sonya to win the belts, and then they'll drop at Mania, because after Mania they'll move Mandy to Raw as a single, and
Separate.
Sonya will be a babyface single on SmackDown.
Yep.
Yeah, that fits as well with the whole Fox wanting legit people, because Sonya's thing is that she's a legit person.
Yep.
And I think they'll just give
That makes
Mandy
sense.
get a belt on her, and then transition to her cashing it in and beating Becky for the belt, so she can fight Stephanie at SummerSlam.
It's what we all want.
Ruined it right there, but at least we're prepared now.
Legit.
From chamber to chamber, the second chamber match, the WWE Championship Chamber match, which is now
This match out.
defending.
You talk about the co-besties.
No, we're going for that at the end.
Well, that's the real main event. That's why. Cool.
That's the real main event. Not because it just segues into the first piece of news, because it is the real main event. The WWE title chamber, which is defending champion Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston.
I have Bryan. I have no particular reason for that, to be honest.
Because it's just obvious.
Yeah.
I think if Ali were to still be in it, he'd be the only one that I'd say maybe could win, if not Bryan. I probably wouldn't go out on a limb and predict him. I'd probably still predict Bryan.
Yeah.
But I think Ali would have been the most likely one.
Who I'd like to see win.
Bryan and Kofi. Yeah, final two.
Who I wouldn't be mad about seeing picking up the win here is Samoa Joe. I don't know. I just like him.
I'd rather be happy with Kofi winning.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be mad at any of them winning. I think the one that I'd least like to see win is AJ Styles.
No, Orton. Orton. 100%
I wouldn't mind
Orton.
Orton. I really wouldn't mind.
Than AJ. AJ just come off an over year-long title reign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sick of seeing AJ with the title, really.
Yeah, but
Not that he's bad, but I just think,
I don't want to see Orton with the title right now, to be honest, either.
AJ will eliminate Randall, and Randy will beat him up afterwards like a salty bitch, and then each other at Mania. Bryan will pin AJ. Bryan and Kofi final two will get the big Trouble in Paradise spot where you think Kofi's won it. Bryan will kick out, pin him, or make him tap.
The lights go out, and here comes Rowan. Oh.
Woo!
I don't know what happened to Jeff Hardy and Joe. They got eliminated first and second.
Yeah. Who faces Bryan at Mania?
Ali.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially now you got taken out of this.
Bray Wyatt.
That's a shout as well. Ric Flair.
Because I believe that Luke Harper will also join Daniel Bryan, and Bray Wyatt will actually return as a babyface character, trying to get Eric Rowan and Luke Harper back on his side. And that will lead to the match at WrestleMania.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens is one.
Yeah, but I think it's,
Long shot.
Hey, we'll do something, yeah.
I
think I will be in the multi-person ladder match for the United States title.
Yeah, be Joe, Shinsuke, Rusev, Andrade, Bray, Jeff Hardy, and Ali.
We'll see. I think right now it's a few people that could go on to face Bryan.
I think not knowing who it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Not knowing who it is. And I hope, there isn't a report that breaks out in the next week or two that tells us.
Yeah.
I want to see, a match at Fastlane where the winner will face Bryan, where we have no idea who's the rumoured opponent is.
I just hope that they don't do John Cena versus Daniel Bryan with a better in every corner. That would be awful.
Awkward. John Cena and Nikki.
Mixed tag match for the WWE Championship.
Yes. Oh my god.
Intergender, rather. An intergender tag match.
Bryan leaves Nikki and retains.
Okay, moving on to another ridiculous tag team match.
Yeah, speaking
Yes,
of tag team,
Shane McMahon and The Miz defending against the Usos, SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I've put in our agenda that Charlotte's going to be on the front row for this one. She's not. I've put
I
it
mean,
on.
she might be in the
I mean,
front
she
row
might-
of Ronda and
She
decide.
might be in front row for the time.
She'll be up front row next to George Mizanin.
The best part of the Shane McMahon The Miz team is George.
Yes.
Who
I
doesn't
think
know?
great.
Who doesn't know who George is? It's the Miz father. So
Yes.
Yeah,
he's
he's amazing. He's the best
he
part
also-
of Total Divas. The best
He
part
also
of Miz
owns a burger shop in
The real question
Ohio.
is, when Mr. Miz
No, he owns a burger shop. We're gonna have to go there now.
turns heel, does he low blow Shane or does he low blow his own son?
Probably his own. Probably his own.
Shane with his dad because he is with Maurice at WrestleMania.
God.
Vince and Miz versus Shane and George in a. Oh wait, is that? Never mind. Anyway, yeah, I think Shane and Miz will win this.
Yep.
I think they're going to have one title retention, and then the next pay-per-view, Fastlane, is where they lose and build to their singles match.
Yep.
It's Jan that we've not heard from yet, so Jan, go ahead.
Yeah. As I said, I think Miz and Shane are going to win this as well.
I think the question is, who's going to be the team that beats them?
Ta-da.
That's
Because
I
boring
think
and
I think it's what teams are there right now on SmackDown?
Well, I hope it would be Sanity, but I believe it's going to be either New Day or The Bar.
Yeah,
Just be
I can't see it being New Day.
boring.
I can't see it being New Day because
I'd go with Sanity as well. I think.
That would be awesome because yeah,
And Rusev.
that will also explain why Wolf is not able to take other bookings.
Rusev Shinsuke.
Dan has to shove a little bit of random German news in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
It's
weird because
Rusev.
I said I thought that the Bludgeon Brothers would be the ones to beat them. Obviously, I mean they still could if they bring Harper back with Rowan. I hope they don't because that would be boring now. But yeah, it's hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends how they
Shinsuke and
incorporate
Rusev
the logo
are a
into
shout.
Tron. I
I
can't think of an easy place to slot the recycling logo onto the name Harper, so he probably not the best fit.
That's the requirements for being part of that stable is you've got to be able to get the reuse, reduce, recycle three arrows thing. Anyway, talking of Usos, we're going to move on from Chamber now. Talking of Usos, one of them got arrested again. This time it was Jimmy. The report came via TMZ. The report said that Naomi was driving on the wrong side. Naomi is Jimmy Uso's wife, if you didn't know. She was driving on the wrong side of the road. Police stopped her, and Jimmy Uso got all up in their face and that, and got himself arrested.
Yeah.
There's not really much we can say about this. It was a thing that happened.
He was.
I think the question really is...
He was drunk. WWE statement was, "Hey, he's responsible for his own actions," and I said this on Twitter. WWE in these situations, WWE won't do anything unless it affects the superstar's work, and if it doesn't do that, why would they care?
WWE, funny story. They just at first they just copied and pasted the same one that they used for Jey Uso last year, and didn't even change the name. So they actually published the statement with the wrong name, and then briefly took it down and put it back up.
Jimmy sealed his own fate to be the one to eat a picture-perfect shooting star press from Shane McMahon at the Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
I mean, people have said that they think this will affect the Usos going forward. It won't, because
It didn't
they won the
with
tag
Jay.
titles last year, a couple of weeks after Jay got arrested. So it
Yep.
literally makes no difference. WWE doesn't care. As long as you don't murder anyone, you're probably going to be fine.
Or as long as it
Especially
doesn't
because their
affect your
contracts are
work.
coming up. They're going to go to AEW.
Yeah.
No, but
Of course.
as Liam said, or as I said before, as long as their work isn't impacted by something that happens outside, they don't care.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Especially
Moving on
with,
from that.
yeah.
Sorry,
Go
carry
on.
on.
No, I was just about to say, especially in that situation, he was drunk. He took his shirt off and went towards the policeman allegedly. That's just what a drunk person does. It wasn't like it wasn't like he assaulted someone. He calmed down when the police warned him. It's just that. It's fine. No problem there. IMO.
I mean, it's not fine. We don't condone threatening to beat up police, but
Oh, of course not, but
I
mean
nothing serious.
Nope. Yep.
Just to take a brief moment, Pedro Morales, at age 76, passed away this past week. Just on behalf of everyone at WrestleVision, we'd like to send our prayers to the family of Pedro Morales and anyone else affected. WWE Hall of Famer, first ever WWE Triple Crown champion, an all-around excellent member of the business. So, thoughts and prayers to all those affected by the passing of Pedro Morales. Moving on again to a WWE contract that sort of got revealed slightly randomly on Total Divas. Daniel Bryan.
Tall Bellas.
Oh, how could I get them mixed up? Oh,
because it's basically the same
Total
show.
Divas is not airing at the moment. Tall Bellas.
Screw Meltzer, I get my hot scoops from Total Bellas.
Yeah, so I don't know how it played out, because funnily enough, I don't know if you could tell, I don't really watch Total Bellas. I mean, maybe I should. It's better storytelling than Raw. Better storytelling than Raw.
I mean, Ronda was
Daniel Bryan...
training with Becky on this week's episode, so...
Okay, I'll watch. That's how you get mine.
Daniel Bryan revealed his WWE contract is up in 3 years. Now, what's interesting about this is, I don't know when this was recorded, so I assume it wasn't that long ago, so I assume it's still valid. But yeah, his contract is up in 3 years. He renewed it last September, and it was very good timing on behalf of WWE, because, if they let him go, he would undeniably be a part of AEW.
In case you haven't heard, there's a new wrestling company that started up.
Maybe. Just maybe.
He also might have gone back to ROH anyway.
No one is reporting about that new company, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about, to be honest.
What's AEW?
What is it? I've never heard of it before.
Wrestling Elite All? Never heard of
Who's
it.
Kenny Omega?
He's from FCW, right? And they fired him.
Him.
WWE reject. That's who it is.
We are joking, AEW fans. Don't hate us.
Just calm down, everyone. I write for Wrestle Talk. I can't hate AEW. So we have a write about, obviously. Moving on to Seth Rollins. Apparent injury issues that have been reported over the past couple of weeks. WWE are, per PW Insider, reportedly playing it safe, and he's been pulled from all house shows until April. But he has been scheduled to appear, or scheduled for, Elimination Chamber, which is an interesting one. He could just be a case of he's going to be hanging around backstage, but he is scheduled to be there, which could also mean a promo, could mean a number of things we don't know. He's not going to be wrestling anyway.
I don't think
they're playing it safe, to be honest.
I don't think that's anything to look into. I think because he's on the active roster and he's technically still traveling with the crew, he's just going to travel there.
Yeah.
It's just the case.
I think
If he will not be on screen, I'd rather he didn't wrestle, and because there's no need to have him wrestling Baron Corbin on TV every week, because that's what
live shows.
that would 100% be his filler feud. So I'd rather have him just not doing anything and not risk aggravating the injury than fighting Baron Corbin and missing WrestleMania.
Yep.
Because this is what happened. This is the exact same thing that happened with Mustafa Ali. Is he was carrying injuries, told them he could wrestled through it, and then he couldn't wrestle through it, and ended up getting pulled. And with a match the magnitude of Rollins-Lesnar, you don't want to risk that.
Yeah, I saw some people on Twitter also with the Ali situation, which you just mentioned. People said, I wish Ali was in another company because they would have let him wrestle is such a big match as the Elimination Chamber.
That's the one thing that I think WWE would do better than any other company.
Yeah,
I think I'd rather they didn't risk someone's life.
Yeah, even if it's in a cynical way, because they don't want to be responsible for people being injured, which I think it kind of is. But it works out better for everyone anyway, so it's fine.
Yep.
A very interesting thing here. I'm going to get the actual quote before we start. WWE, after they released their fourth quarter profits last weekend, they released the 10K SEC filing. I'm just trying to get up the actual quote.
By the way, I have no idea what that is, by the way.
It's sort of just an official. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. It's an official document that they release. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. It's a corporate statement just about the company in general, and the theme or the topic of Vince McMahon either leaving the company to pursue other endeavors. You know, the XFL is a thing that's happening. Retiring from altogether from life, retiring from WWE and business altogether, or potentially passing away. WWE in their 10K SEC filing addressed that, and they sort of said what it meant for the company. Now I'm going to read the entire thing, and then maybe we'll break it down, or maybe we'll just sit here and go, I don't really know what that means, but I'm going to read it out, and I quote, it's fairly lengthy, but hopefully it'll be alright to follow along with. In addition to serving as chairman of our board of directors and chief executive officer, Mr. McMahon leads the creative team that develops the storylines and the characters on our programming, including our television, WWE Network and other programming, and live events. From time to time, Mr. McMahon has also been an important member of our cast of performers. The loss of Mr. McMahon due to unexpected retirement, disability, death, or other unexpected termination, for any reason, could have a material adverse effect on our ability to create popular characters and creative storylines, or could otherwise adversely affect our operating results. Mr. McMahon has established Alpha Entertainment LLC, which is the XFL group, to explore investment opportunities across the sports entertainment landscapes. Again, the XFL thing. And Alpha Entertainment LLC plans to launch a professional football league in early 2020. While he has provided the company assurances that his focus on WWE will not be diverted by these efforts, any such diversion or perception of such diversion could adversely affect our operating results and could have a material adverse effect on our stock price. Basically, what they're saying is, if Vince McMahon leaves or dies, it's going to be a bad thing.
No shit.
It's going to happen.
I think that's obvious with every company leader in every company, no matter where. If they leave, pass away, whatever, it's going to have a bad impact for a few weeks, months, maybe a year or two on the company. That's no surprise.
Especially when it's someone as influential as Mr. McMahon.
Yep.
Or Mr. McMahon, giving him his gimmick name.
Well,
Vince McMahon. Because it's not just that he's the boss who oversees things. He's the boss that does everything. Like, he literally...
I think people give him too much crap. I think...
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes it's deserved. Sometimes he does ridiculous, stupid things.
Yeah, but...
We've got to remember... We've got to remember, he's also responsible for the good things as well.
Let's be honest. Without him, we wouldn't have the wrestling and the boom, or even, dare I say, AEW, if it wasn't for him.
If it wasn't for him,
no one would know if it's possible to launch and successfully have a wrestling company that big in the world.
Yep.
Nobody would dare.
We'd all be sitting here talking about what happened on Nitro Just last week. For him.
Oh my god. Yeah. Scott Steiner won his 30th World Championship.
I mean, we can get into a debate about it. We can get into a debate about it now, I think. That, you know, a lot of people are, I mean, I'm going to try and say this in a nice way. This isn't what I believe. A lot of people are saying that they want Vince to leave so that Triple H can take over because that will instantly make things better. A bit of a sort of news flash for people. It won't. It won't instantly make things better.
It will take a while.
It will take a while. It will take a number of years.
But not just 2 years.
Yeah, multiple, many years, maybe 5, if you know, maybe longer.
But
I
think, especially in the, I don't think business-wise, but I think creatively right now and in the modern wrestling business, it would be better for Vince to leave. But that's, I just see it creatively, right? So I think creative-wise, Vince still has that old mindset. And I think that's why people say, hey, please leave. We want a modern mindset in control of creative. That's all I hear people talk about when it's about Vince leaving. It's always, hey, creative.
We have no idea how Triple H would do handling the other tasks other than creative.
Yeah.
I mean, what we've seen is Vince is giving Triple H more responsibility because, you know, with NXT, he's giving him 205. And also, when Vince sort of, I think it was the Extreme Rules pay-per-view last year. It wasn't the best pay-per-view by any stretch of the imagination. But Vince couldn't be there for whatever reason. It might have been something to do with XFL. He was doing something else. And Triple H was the one that was left in charge of that. And I think that shows that a very slow process of stepping away and easing Triple H in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we haven't really addressed why WWE felt need to publish this statement right now. I believe it's because the fear of Vince McMahon going somewhere else to proceed his the XFL project also is big within the group of shareholders that WWE has. And I believe when Vince McMahon isn't in charge of WWE anymore, that the share price will drop immensely. And not because because the shareholders feel that another one that is not Vince will not lead the company the best or to their intentions, what they would like to see WWE pursue in the future. And if you take a look at another company like Nintendo, where their boss passed away suddenly, they really had a struggle, but they were able to prepare that. And in WWE, Vince is preparing to leave, obviously, but it's a very slow process. And for Nintendo, in that case, they didn't really were prepared, even though they could have. And I don't know if WWE is prepared. So it's always a matter of preparation. And I don't get that feeling from WWE right now, really. There's some things they do with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, but in the end, if Vince McMahon suddenly dies, which I hope doesn't happen, then the WWE will be really in a kind of struggle.
Creative-wise, I don't think that much, to be honest, but the other parts of the business, I think, yeah. I think
they're intrinsically linked as well. I think there's a heavy link in terms of creative and business, and I think you've got to get that balance.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's part of the sort of the easing in they're doing of Triple H. They're kind of giving him more control gradually. It's a gradual thing, and I think they're going about it the right way.
They're going to give Triple H control of SmackDown when it moves to Fox.
Could very well happen. Even if with the rumor that NXT goes to Fox as well. Maybe he has SmackDown and NXT then. And Yeah.
And he also does 205 Live, don't forget that.
Yeah,
Only running Raw come the end of the year, I think.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's a very interesting sort of thing. And I think Triple H has shown with NXT that he is capable of, if he is put in control, we've got no reason to believe he won't do a good job.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, talking of NXT, we'll move on to our next bit of news now. WWE unveiled a number of new signings for the Performance Center. They are Rachel Ellering, Karen
Let
Hugh,
me read the list.
Trevor
I want
Lee.
to read the list. I want to do something. No,
Okay.
so a list of new WWE signings, including Rachel Ellering. Ellering was in the Mae Young Classic as Rachel Evans, I think.
It's good that you're doing them because you actually know things about the people.
Yeah, she's also the girlfriend of Cassius Ohno, so. Karen Q, I don't know much about her.
She was in the
First? Maybe?
Women of Honor Fatal 4-Way that happened at some point in time.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
It was also a young classic this last year.
Okay. The third on the list, Trevor Lee, I think the most, or one of the two most familiar names on that list, was an Impact, I think multiple-time X Division champion. Next one, ACH, also well-known name. Sam Shaw.
Dan's favorite.
Dan's going to mark out for Sam Shaw.
He's great. Sam Shaw is great. He impressed me so much in his TNA run.
He's great.
Which was quite short, but short and great.
That's not the only thing.
I remember he had a leather glove, that's about it.
Yeah. Scott Parker and Shane Matthews Team 3.0, some Australian team I think it was. Don't know anything.
So.
I don't know anything about them. Elliot Sexton, heard about him but never seen any of his work. Jonah
If
Rock.
these Australian names interest you, they could be mentioned in a video on the WrestleVision channel that we did. So check that out if you want to learn more about any of these Australian peeps.
Yo. Jonah Rock. I know him from his from the few matches he had in New Japan, I think it was. He had a few matches there. I heard not other much than that. Nick Comroto, I don't know him.
Yeah.
Omari
Comroto
Palmer.
and Palmer, we don't know. They're sort of unknown names.
Ricardo Miller. But two people who were expected to start but didn't, Kushida and Ilya Dragunov. I think Dragunov...
Could we see Kushida help Tozawa after Murphy beats him and attacks him after the match?
I hope not.
I hope not as
Two
well.
Japanese people, and that's how simple WWE works. 1 out, 1 in with the loss of Hideo Itami.
I think it is interesting that they weren't there. I mean, I think Dragunov might be because he's going to be in the UK Performance Centre.
Yeah,
Dan might know more about that.
I also think he still has full-time bookings till April, I think.
Yes, he's announced for 16 Karat Code and for the WrestleGate show in March.
So I think he has kind of a full-time...
And with Kushida, could it be linked to the NXT Japan stuff from last week?
Yeah, but I don't think they will hold off from him that long because that is, I think, expected to start at the end of the year. And I don't think they will hold off on Kushida that long.
Yeah, the reports for Kushida were that he was going to come in to NXT and be a sort of instant major guy.
Yeah, we'll see.
So he will be sitting in the crowd.
Or take over Blackpool.
The next bit of news is rather bizarre.
Yeah.
Booker T is suing Activision because of a likeness that they have used in Black Ops 4. The likeness to his G.I. Bro character. And I think this is just a case of Booker T being Booker T and being an absolute mentalist.
I said it shortly before we start. The character I think was in the previous title Black Ops 3 as well. The dude looks like a black dude in the military. The
with
character
dreadlocks.
with a black guy with dreadlocks in the military. Yeah, of course he's going to sue them because he looks like him. It's just stupid. I'm sorry. It's like another case with a ridiculous lawsuit. The people that sued Epic Games for the dances in the Fortnite game. It's not. You can sue someone because of the way they look. I mean, I would sue Dan for the way he looks right now, but I can't. Like, it's.
What's so offensive about Dan's look right now?
Maybe it's
What's
not.
not suing?
Maybe it's not the looks, but just the thing I know with Ric Flair and stuff. So woo constantly.
And what would you sue him for?
Exactly, you can't. That's what it's a stupid comparison, but you can't sue someone just out of the blue.
Well, J.K. Rowling sued me for looking like Harry Potter, and so I have to wear square glasses now instead of round ones.
I mean,
Yeah. It's stupid.
he's got David Otunga behind him, so. Oh, I remember Dan got thrown off for mentioning David Otunga before. I better not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Booker T being mental. We'll see how it plays out. The next bit of news is Ty Dillinger. This was last Saturday, I think. Admitted on Twitter that he tried to go back to NXT. There was a tweet that asked him if he wanted to go back to NXT, and he replied, "Tried." So,
Yeah.
he's made the effort. They're not letting him go back down for whatever reason.
I guess this was around the time that they put Breeze down there and he had the Ricochet match.
Yeah, I
Would be
think.
my guess on a time period here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also with Ty, he returned at the weekend. That was the
With a
same.
new
I think it
haircut.
was probably the same match Charlie got injured in.
Yep.
Yeah, he also has a new haircut. He now has a mohawk, I guess, or something like that. He looks like the Undertaker back in 2012.
Wasn't it the WrestleMania match against Brock he had where he had that haircut?
No, I believe it was against Triple H.
That's the one
Yeah,
he
I don't know.
cut his hair short.
I don't know.
It was the worst secret in history that Taker had shaved his head bald. They
Yep.
covered it up until the actual show.
Yep. Yep.
We've got Lana took to Twitter to moan about Ronda Rousey. Now, the underlying news here is that Lana and Rusev were taken off Total Divas.
Much like Paige.
They were replaced by Ronda Rousey and Sonya Deville. And basically, Lana's gone on Twitter, done a typical Lana thing, and she's being dead bitter, and she's sort of replying to tweets saying that she doesn't think Ronda brings in ratings, which, I mean, true. She says that Ronda's very overrated, which I think is not true. But yeah, I think it's a very silly thing to do. I think immature is the right word, to be honest.
Lana would
I
know
think
nothing about not being a ratings draw, not being a good wrestler.
Yeah, it's a very, very silly
Yeah.
thing to do. I don't think having
Being Booker
to say-
T, this is very much Lana being Lana.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Talking
talking
about
of
Total Divas.
Talking of total divas and women that can't wrestle, Eva Marie revealed in an interview with TV Insider that she has been in talks for a return with WWE.
Technically, Casey's been on vacation for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Can you guys just look at my face on stream and that's my thoughts? I don't want to talk about this, to be honest.
You do.
Just, it's...
She had a really good thing going on before she got let go.
I believe
Yeah.
she's just going to return as an on-screen character for Total Divas and not for actual TV.
Yeah, still...
Come back, Asuka's gonna be the opponent. She could be like, no one's ready for Asuka. Eva Marie's like, I'm ready for Asuka, and then she's gonna be the SmackDown Women's Champion.
And the Raw Women's Champion at the same time. And then she will be holding it for ages in return and unify them to the Divas Championship.
Go in the McMahon and everything.
I think
The revival
Liam
are bringing
wants
back
to move on.
traditional. The revival are bringing back traditional tag team championships. Eva Marie is going to bring back the traditional Divas Championship.
Imagine the heat.
Have you seen the promotional pictures for Fighting With My Family? They actually made a new Divas Championship belt with the new WWE logo on it for the movie.
Yeah, I just think they didn't want to use the belt that Brett Maddox did something on, but...
That wasn't the
He did that on the NXT title. They used
maybe-
Oh,
not.
yeah, right. Wasn't there a
Moving on.
picture with... Okay.
Impact News.
Moving on.
Impact News, everyone. Yeah, so last week, I think this aired actually during our stream last week, or it was either that or just after. The Lucha Bros, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. defeated LAX in the main event for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Cool. I've not watched Impact for the last few weeks.
Yeah, me neither.
I've not had time, but it is very good indeed, I'm led to believe. I think this is a good demonstration of the difference between WWE's tag team divisions and all the other companies' tag team divisions, because this main evented the show, and I don't think you'd see a tag title match main event a Raw or a SmackDown, and I think that is the significant difference.
Yep.
They took it in the third hour, so we never cared about it.
And LAX are pretty underrated. They are a great tag team. They're really awesome. And they're taking indie bookings. So if you happen to be close to a wrestling company show, indie show like RevPro or even WXW, LAX are a regular face on that show. Or on their shows.
Now, a bit of controversial news here. Impact announced last week that a former world champion would be returning at the United We Stand. I can't see Jan, but I can hear him getting his sign
I
ready.
can hear him getting it ready.
At the United We Stand event on April 4. And that Impact World Champion, the former Impact World Champion, will be Rob Van
That's
Van
Dan
Dam.
trying to eat something, not me getting the paper ready, by the way.
I thought it was.
I thought it was like,
I thought it was getting the paper ready.
It's been up for like since
I
you
just
did the
knew Liam
transition,
would
but...
stand for it. Okay.
Yeah, so Van Dam.
sorry for he wouldn't be professional enough to eat on stream.
It wasn't me eating, I was
What is
just doing this.
I'm going to eat on stream now too.
I was eating.
Descended into
So.
chaos.
Okay, let's talk about Impact Wrestling and tag team wrestling matches that are booked for United We Stand on April 4.
That sounds like a great idea.
No,
Yeah,
So
so
who's going to be in that
former-
match?
former Impact World Champion Rob Van Dam will be teaming with the rather controversial Sabu against the Lucha Bros. Now,
Jam, but I'm going to guess.
the only thing we're going to say is we don't agree with Sabu's views that he often expresses on Twitter. We don't condone them, and we think he's a terrible man. Moving on, we don't really need to touch.
The only thing I have to
that.
say about Rob Van
It's
Dam
nice to see
is
Rob Van Dam is back.
at least it's not Rio.
At least it's not Del Rio.
And
he was one of the
get to hear his epic entrance scene.
If some people see the stream that
this is the sound that is.
They can share this tweet with him. I don't care. I stand by the statement on my paper, and I will happily defend myself. I have a few other papers that Liam told me not to show, so I won't do it. But he knows what's on them. So
I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We'll move on.
Any views beyond the ones Dan is showing on screen are just Jan's and no one else's.
I mean, not really. I mean, I think he's a bellend as well. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Moving on from that, don't give him any more time.
About someone that's in that match as well, we wanted to talk about the injury from Phoenix.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Phoenix is injured.
Not anymore. He returned last night. He returned at the tapings last night for Impact. He wrestled in a match. Muscle contortion or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, muscle contusion.
I looked it up. Recovery time depends on the person, really. It's just when you have your strength back. And if it wasn't something bad, he had his strength back already. He's an incredible athlete, so it's faster for him to recover than others. Yeah.
It's what people call in the wrestling business a stinger. That's what he had.
The stinger.
Not the stinger, a stinger.
That's just a short addition to that.
Icon.
Okay, moving on to another country.
We'll touch on some New Japan / ROH news. And Jay White surprised everyone, I think, by winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at New Beginning last weekend. He beat Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some sort of New Japan expert, so that's all
I'm also not a New Japan
logo
I
on the wall.
even realised that Jay White's title match had been booked. I thought it was going to be at Dominion, but apparently it's happened and he won. I'm not going to call myself the biggest Jay White fan in the world.
But he is great.
He hasn't really impressed me too much from what I've seen. Okada was pretty good, but before that, he was like. And I just think that like Tanahashi got the big win for like his last run, so I don't understand why it ended so quickly.
Yeah, because Tanahashi beat Omega.
Maybe
the championship.
Maybe I think to be Tanahashi winning. Yes, it made sense, but also it kind of was like he was the most logical one to get the belt off Omega before he leaves.
Yeah. Oh, the plan, I'll tell you now actually, the plan was for Omega to retain. That's why Tanahashi won, but because Omega was going to AEW, he couldn't retain.
That's what I'm
Tanahashi
saying,
had to win because they put themselves in that situation.
But I think maybe him losing the belt so quickly is... maybe his injuries flirt up again and he can't wrestle right now. I don't know, but it's odd, but I like it. I'm not mad at it. Not at all.
I like unpredictable things.
I just thought that, like, I hope Naito gets it off Jay White because he should have won it off Okada. And he still hasn't won it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is...
We've got the
Korakuen Hall.
Korakuen Hall.
Those. Korakuen.
A hall. We have a hall.
The Japan Hall.
Yes. There's going to be an NJPW ROH shows there on February 22nd and 23rd. We'll just go through the card now. I mean, if anyone knows enough to give predictions, we can do, but I don't. The February 22nd show, we've got Ren Narita, I'm going to butcher all these names, Ren Narita versus Marty Scurll, Shota Umino versus Zack Sabre Jr., Jushin Liger and Jonathan Gresham versus Robbie Eagles and Taiji Ishimori, Toa Hanari, Tomoaki Honma, and David Findlay and Juice Robinson against the Guerrillas of Destiny and the Briscoes. Ryosuke Taguchi, Toru Yano, and Togi Makabe against Cheeseburger, Delirious, and Colt Cabana. Will Ospreay against Dalton Castle. Jeff Cobb against Hiroki Goto. Jay Lethal, Kazuchika Okada, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Vinny Marseglia, Tico O'Ryan, and Matt Taven. That's the February 22nd. And on the February 23rd, we've got Yota Tsuji, Ren Narita, and Shota Umino versus Cheeseburger, Delirious, and Colt Cabana. Toa Inari and Jonathan Gresham against Taka Michinoku and Zack Sabre Jr. Marty Scurll versus Robbie Eagles. Will Ospreay and Hiroki Goto versus Dalton Castle and Jeff Cobb. Shingo Takagi and Tetsuya Naito versus Vinny Marseglia and Matt Taven. Jay Lethal versus TK O'Ryan. Evil and Sonata versus the Guerrillas of Destiny. And the main event, David Findlay and Juice Robinson versus the Briscoes. Yes. Unless anyone wants to add any more to that, we can move. Sorry?
I love Dalton Castle.
He's rip off Eric Buchenhagen.
No.
Oh, Christ. The final bit of news is the Crockett Cup. We'll go through the confirmed things for that. I'm sure Dan will have some stuff to add here. Nick Aldis is going to defend the NWA Championship against Marty Scurll. And in terms of the teams in the Crockett Cup, we've got the War Kings, which is Crimson and Jack Stane, and Villain Enterprises, which is Brody King against PCO. We also know that New Japan and CMLL will both be sending teams too. We also know that legendary teams, the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, and Nikolai Volkov and Magnum TA will all be appearing at the event.
Also, Jim Cornette is going to be appearing at the event, and the Crockett Cup is a tag team tournament that is returning after quite some time. Even before WCW became a huge part of the business, it kind of died out because the NWA wasn't that relevant anymore. And now it's back because Billy Corgan bought the NWA and is trying to make it a thing again. And he actually managed to get some kind of work relationship with the Ring of Honor and now even New Japan and CMLL. So the Crockett Cup is shaping up to be quite a big thing in the near future. And I'm really looking forward to it because War Kings and Villain Enterprises are not the only teams going to be there. And the match Aldous versus Scurll actually looks like a great matchup. So this Crockett Cup event will be quite large. Great and big stars will be appearing at the show. And, well, it really could shapen up to be a big event for the wrestling year 2019.
Now, we've reached the end of our agenda, but there is some news that has come out just now. Corey Graves's hold on, let's have a look at this, shall we? Corey Graves's wife, Amy Polinsky, took to Instagram. Let's have a look at this. The post has been deleted, but the quote reads as such: "This may be totally below me to do, but I'm hurt. I'm sad. I've put 11 years into supporting a man to accomplish his dream, only for him to punch me in the gut. I've been through suicide attempts, alcoholism, among so much more with him, and stuck by his side. The kicker is finding out that he's been sleeping with one of my daughter's role models all along. Carmella and Corey Graves, I hope you guys are happy. I really do." Oh dear.
Oh,
That's not good, is it? Carmel, I mean, yeah. There's not really much we can say about that.
No, not much, but well, maybe we should end on a positive note or on a better note, because I also have a question I wanted to ask our audience and you guys. WXW 16 Karat Gold is about 3 weeks away. And well, the last two big events happened yesterday and today. It was Dead End, and it was the WXW Road to 16 Karat Gold in Bielefeld. And they still haven't announced the 16th participant in the 16 Karat Gold tournament. And there have been quite some big names. I won't run through all of the participants, but we've got Walter, obviously. We've got Ilya Dragunov. We've got Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix as probably the 4 biggest stars, and Marcel Bartel. But they keep holding off the 16th participant. So I believe with the WWE deal and the relationship to various other promotions, there's somebody really, really big in store this year as the 16th participant. So who do you think it's going to be? In 3 weeks, it's time, and we will see who it will be. But who is the 16th participant for the tournament?
16th participant will, of course, be 16-time world champion Ric Flair.
Ooh.
I think if Ric Flair showed up to WXW, we'd have to continue this as a 3-man team, because Dan would have just combusted.
Exploded with happiness.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Otis.
Yeah.
I think...
No, Otis did nothing this week, so he's not really on our agenda at all. We just want to bring him up.
Yeah, that's our weekly Otis mention. He was on main event in a match I watched before. They beat the Ascension. Percy Watson was going full heel on Heavy Machinery for some unknown reason. Bit random, but it happened anyway.
Yeah, I believe we will be talking about 16 Karat Gold when the show is actually coming up, which will also mean I won't be on the live stream that weekend, but it's in 3 weeks, so yeah, because I'm going to be there live.
There goes all our viewers.
3 days.
That is the real draw here.
In fact, now you've mentioned that, I added a card before for those of you that are watching, for the Australian peeps that Connell mentioned before when we were going through the that Jan mentioned before. Connell mentioned the video when we were going through the new WWE signees. Yeah, Dan did a video about a month ago about the German wrestling scene. If you want to know more about that, then you can click the annotations, the little eye on your stream, and you can go and head to that as we end this video. So we leave you with a link to even more of our content. You can also visit our website in the description. Also,
and now Dan, sing us out.